All right, welcome to another edition of the VCG Musicians Playbook Q&A. It's been a minute since we've been able to record video, but we have been meeting every week, but I'm glad to be back in the cycle here. We have some newcomers, so I thought it would be a good idea to start with introduction in the rounds. We're going to play some popcorn. This is we'll just pass it around. I'm going to begin. My name is David Benet. David Scott is my artist name. I am a patient advocate, a violinist and producer, composer, arranger. My focus is in music and medicine. I run a program support my day job. I run a program supporting 11 UNC hospitals and retirement homes across the state with my nonprofit Music Over Mind and my program Door to Door. And then I run the VCG, a music label focusing on business administration and label services and distribution and public. We're getting into publishing. We're working towards that. Fun fact: I have 2 daughters, a wife, and a cat. 4 girls, and I live in Durham, NC. I work at UNC, but I'm a big Duke fan, so don't hold that against me. Let's go to Mayday.
Hey. Hi, my name is Mayday, and I'm actually a dog.
Oh shit!
My fun fact for the day. No, I'm on lunch. As a fun fact to start off with, I'm eating a fruit bowl, and this dog Xena that I love is just enamored with trying to get some, even though she cannot have any of this. I am a artist, host, co-producer, creative director, do a lot of things. Primarily my medium is music. I'd say the genre usually is hip hop, and I both release and create music here in the Triangle area, as well as perform at pretty much nationally. I think it's been a good couple of places, from West Coast to like Florida to up north, all the good stuff. So really been doing a concerted effort to put out the most recent project, which is Day of Moon and Sun Volume 2, and have been doing a waterfall release with that in conjunction with the VCG, who does my admin and business. Shout out to the VCG. As another fun fact, I usually work in and around the Triangle. I'm a business partner of a community space known as The Portal. And I regularly work kind of in like health and wellness coaching, community building, and environmentalism as well. So those are like real corner points that I look to hit around music. And other than that, honored to be here and happy to have everyone here today.
Awesome.
And how do you feel?
Mayday, call someone out.
Let's go with Tom. The soundest guy we know.
Here we go. My name is Tom Burden, and I'm a mix engineer and mastering engineer, and also a musician first. I've been playing music for a long time. I'm not as good as some of these guys in here, but been doing it a long time. But I kind of enjoy the technical side of it, and I enjoy working with people's projects and getting their vision across, what they're kind of trying to achieve. And then right now I'm working on mixing a jazz trio band. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm doing some more studio design work. Just working on building some more things in the studio. I just haven't had any time to build anything yet, but pretty soon I'll be getting that saw out.
Hey, nice.
Well, what's your 9 to 5, Tom?
Well, my it's not a 9 to 5. It's a 3:30 to 12 p.m. But I work at a television station. I work at a local CBS station out of Raleigh.
Nice.
Doing I was a mixing engineer for a long time there, and stuff kind of one automated, but I've been directing newscasts lately.
Hmm.
That's what the day job's like, or the early morning job.
Call someone out, Tom.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Do we
I think it's
do we
me.
do Bobby? He last one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm my name is Bobby. I live in Carborough, and I am a musician. That's if I was going to sum it up in one word, that'd be it. But I'm a performer, composer, songwriter. I make my living performing, like as a solo artist, but I also have a long history of collaborating with bands, and I have my own like catalog of original material, and I go play in bars and breweries and venues, and I also work with Dave in his door-to-door program in the hospitals, and also in the VCG as an artist in the assisted living network, and I also record and mix and master and do a bunch of other random stuff on the side, including assistance with studio organizing recently with Mr. Benet, and various assorted items of that nature.
Cool. Thank you, Bobby. All right, D'Angelo.
Awesome. Nice to meet everybody. Yeah, my name is David D'Angelo. I am a producer and pianist, multi-instrumentalist, and create my own original music, with a focus on making music that speaks to environmental messages and things going on in our natural world. So that's my passion, is music and the environment, combining that. And I'm also a teacher as like my main profession. So I've been teaching piano and music production for close to 10 years, more than that for piano, and maybe 8, I'm gonna say 10 years teaching. And yeah, I love that as well. Getting to work with students in California. I teach with a school there, and I teach here in Charlotte, or I'm in Charlotte as well. And I teach lessons here as well. So yeah, a lot of teaching and producing my own music. I produce and perform, and yeah, just continuing to do more of that and keep building as a artist and teacher. And this is great. I think the next step will be to get this pitch and more like a bio that we're all sharing, more succinct. But no, this is just kind of more just like an introduction, like a less formal one. I think if we were all doing the 30-second to 1-minute pitch thing, we could narrow it down a little bit. But no, this is good. So that's a bit about me.
Have you put, and you guys can put these in Chat GPT, and it'll help you draft it up to your little bio, and then it'll be in there too. But D'Angelo, you also grew up in Durham, right?
I did. Yeah.
And you went to Friends School, and then you went to school for music in Louisiana, right?
Emerson Waldorf School.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
It's all good. It's like we were very different, but still the outer liars.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah. Oh shoot.
Russell's in.
Russell's here.
Hey Russell, we just went around and did like a 20-second pitch introduction on who you are and what you do, and if you want to introduce yourself. We are live recording right now, so
he's like, man.
You want to just give a little introduction?
Dave Russell, Riding Russell. I am a lyricist, master of hooks.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you have a couple songs queued up that you're going to be releasing soon too, right? And
Yeah.
that's exciting. And yeah, great to everyone to be here. It's great to have everyone here. And I think Krista might join us shortly, but we're going to keep it rolling. I know June is one of those biannual audit months. I just wanted to share some stuff with you in full transparency to the mechanicals, at least, side of things. I'm going to share my screen, and then you can see what we're doing on the mechanicals with distribution. That's not including all of the royalty platforms. I'll generate reports on all of those. I'm going to first show you the VCG distribution, and then you can see we still need a push. So everyone's going to pushing and growing. There was the last 3 months we had a lot of releases, and everyone was compounding who was releasing. And then May, I guess, the last month we didn't have as many releases. I think everyone took a little break, and then so we'll have another lull. But I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. We haven't hit any thresholds yet. And technically, we don't really have a threshold. So I was hoping to do, all right, can everyone see this report? So it's low numbers, but I'm optimistic. I'm still hopeful. I'm still pushing forward. We're not going anywhere away anytime soon. So this is from Spain. So last month, 1972, 1078, $1.37, $1.59, 4.26, 12.14, 48 cents, 26 cents. That's how long we've been doing distribution and releasing music on the VCG. So that's just mechanicals across everyone. That's group, that's lump sum. So we have, I think, people in distribution right now are Mayday, Russell, me, Bobby, Krissa, and then we have a couple of outliers. So like Prince Divine, Shelly Markham. I think that's it. That's just mechanicals. So the royalty platforms look similar. So you can I'm going to give you reports of those. I don't have them generated right now, but you can basically take these. This is all streaming platforms. So you can basically take these, and then you can multiply probably by 4, and that's where we're at money wise. So not necessarily like anything impressive, but but still, I'm still hopeful and believing that these things will grow. No, we did get flagged with, we got hit on someone put Mayday and me. Didn't we both get on the AI platform, Mayday, or was it just you? The AI playlist?
Say it again.
That AI playlist that you got on, was it just that one song of yours, or did I get on that too?
It's hard to say if it was the same playlist. I remember you said you got flagged as well, but in both cases, they were playlists that we didn't submit to and that we didn't approve either. So they just like put the music up there and then they got flagged on their own.
Yeah, so we have been flagged once with someone put us on an AI playlist, but we did not submit to that. And that the music came off and I put it right back on, which was fine. We could do that because it was disputed. So that being said, the really cool thing is, everyone cool on this report? I'm going to stop share screen if everyone's good. Everyone's good? Yeah. Okay. The really cool thing, I think, was that when we were releasing organically, everyone was compounding. I made it to 3,000 monthly listeners in May. I think Mayday had 2,000 monthly listeners. Now, granted, on these profiles, I started with like 0. I think I had like 11 monthly listeners, and Mayday had 0 because it was a new page. So obviously, I know Russell is dialing a release strategy that we're going to build out to in the VCG playbook that will have, if this is successful, then we'll have strategies moving forward with release scheduling and stuff like that to really try and grow this thing. I know what I was really hoping to do was just volume, but then I got held up in May with certain projects. So when I was compounding, it was doing really well, really just releasing organically all the time. So I'm going to get back on that going into summer. And then I did get into the Recording Academy, as you guys know. I think everyone knows. So I'm submitting to Grammy submissions, and I think that will help too. I will reach out to my mentors in Nashville who run a label and talk about release strategy and how we can build this out even better. But all the systems will be in place if this works with Russell, which he has an extensive release strategy for the collaboration with Bobby on Pterodactyl. That song turned out great. I think it's going to do well. It's really about strategy and execution. I think on the release stuff, once we do it, it'll be successful. He was
By
saying,
the way, that's what I've been working on today.
oh, good,
Yeah.
that's great.
I have some thoughts on that we can share.
Okay, yeah, we can go right into that. I want to segue with Russell was saying that from his research, and you can chime in whenever, that regional targeting is what you want to do to start to get on Spotify playlists, and that's only a 5% chance to get picked up. But that's like for them, that's a high chance, 5% chance. But then once you get on a major playlist, especially then it's like a 45% chance on getting on another one, so that those percentages go up, right, Russell? You're muted.
Yeah, that's accurate. Yeah, it's a 5%. It basically what you regional collaboration is what they kind of are set on. So basically, instead of paying for playlists, the smart thing to do is to try to pay for a collaboration with someone with your song that already has influence, and then utilizing that method and making sure both parties at Spotify for Artists, and then you're telling Spotify for Artists before you pitch your release strategy. So you're telling them that, like, if you've already sealed that deal with the collaboration for the reel, now you're using that as within your pitch to say, we got a reel, da 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 da, and now it's gonna trigger for them to, because they only really review songs for the first 7 to 14 days. So really, the first 7 to 14 days, it's like if you have 3 real collaborations with 3 different people, right, that have businesses or a good network, then it's going to trigger their algorithm to give it a real listen. And they don't, and all the Spotify curators are actual people, not AI. So it's hard to get. That's why it's so hard to get on a Spotify playlist, because there's probably 10,000 songs released a day or some shit. But yeah, that basically they're wanting the preparation to be like that, where, like, for Pterodactyl, we're thinking like I can do a collaboration for someone that does a shirt for it, that we could sell as merch, but we can give a percentage off the merch to get their email info. So we'll do a reel like that where it's a collab on both. We'll do a reel where it's with the NC Museum of Life and Science, and pay them maybe $50 or so to see if they'll they'll do a real collaboration, and put it on their page. And then if we what I was telling Dave, and this is kind of big, I think this is really maybe the biggest thing for the label, is we're trying to set up a label show every fall and spring when the students come in. And so that will be like just like exactly like that's when everything's buzzing around this area, is when all the students are in town. And then you can kind of capitalize off of the momentum once fall rolls around. So the release for Pterodactyl, we still have to work on with regards to all this tightening, but and making sure those collaborations are in place, and then and they agree to it, and then once that happens, we create a release schedule for every single reel and make sure that Spotify for Artists is tagged in every single one. And I'll pay the Spotify for Artists campaign, which is like $100. So
Minimum.
so that
$100 minimum.
Yeah, $100 minimum. So with all of that together, though, like it's going to be about $500 for the upfront cost. However, in the fall, like if this were to happen and it were to work out, and $500 we put up, and it's a successful show, we have a great show, that footage is going to be used for whatever the next show is, and whatever it's going to be able to create the momentum needed to keep the train rolling once we have a big show.
Yeah, and we're looking at possible Blue Note Grill. I have a foot in the door there, and I think Russell just got dropped. Yeah, Mayday asked, does the campaign, and wait, where'd that text go?
That was realistically a Russell question too.
Okay. Does the campaign
I was
include
curious,
IG
like-
activity from Spotify as well, or just things on their platform? No, his plan is to have the campaign with IG too. So he's going to boost that $50.
Okay.
That $50 he's going to boost on IG, on the reels, and he's going to tell the partners like Life and Science that we will put money into the boosting this reel, and then we'll be tagging Spotify for Artists, and then he's also going to be boosting on Spotify marquee type stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. I got you. Intersectionality. Very nice.
Yeah, and but the big takeaway I think is the regional pool that Spotify has said that that's what they're looking for these pitches, right? Not just that there has to be regional momentum and pull. Like that's a new concept to me. I didn't realize that. So
I wonder if any region would work with that in mind. Like if you could hyper focus on regions outside of your direct region as well.
probably, but that'd be probably more difficult to get to do. I think, being local and having the ability to network here, I think is the easiest thing to do. Like if you're just going to target LA or something and you're doing all your work in LA, then like that could probably work, but that might be more difficult. I know with my campaign pushes, I looked for like lowest cost point for my marquees, and I was doing like Brazil. I've always wanted to go to Brazil, and then also I was targeting them because it was like 22 cents per click or something, as opposed to US, which was like 45 to 55 cents a click, all the way to 75 cents a click, which is insanely bonkers to me. Like this not good analytical like ROI with how much we're actually spending. So
interesting, because I'm thinking from like the regional thing is like kind of twofold. Like you could be well connected in your region, but then it starts becoming kind of a numbers game, in which case sometimes regionally it'll limit what you're doing. But like say you going and putting stuff for Brazil, it's not going to limit it because it's not seeing it within your region, but you could also still kind of grow your profile. So I'm thinking about what the benefits might be between sort of leveraging various like very specific regions and then also targeting your own region as well.
Well, at the end of the day, it's like capital. So like if we only have $500 to spend on promotions, then it's like, why would I be targeting expensive regions outside of my pool, outside of my region, when if I focus all my efforts on my region and all my capital on my region, then I'll have a better outcome, I think, with the money will stretch farther. That's what I would imagine. You know,
I totally can feel you on that. And Russ, if you want to take a crack at the question, you're welcome to. I was just kind of well, Benet actually answered my question for me, but we were kind of now just discoursing about the potential benefits of like diversifying your regionality, essentially. So like, for example, diversify your portfolio. One of my friends, we have a song about diversifying portfolios. But like for example, I know a lot of my thematics and the style of my music is like been popular in like the UK and aspects of like Eastern Europe. Like I could find small regions within there and be like, okay, they're really liking hip hop here. Let me focus this here, and then bounce between them and kind of like regional stuff. But I think Benet brought up a really good point, which is capital is limited. So you gotta make strategic decisions regardless if you're gonna do something like that.
mm-hmm. But hey,
Yeah.
Bobby, oh, go ahead, Russell.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. Like it's, like that's definitely how I was doing a lot of my marketing with Touchdown. Going to other countries and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just for the Spotify playlist curators, how they have everything organized musically is by region and what kind of music is being made everywhere. So like bluegrass being made in Europe might have a different name than bluegrass, for instance, for them. So that's why it's like important to have a region for them, for the curators. Now for other kinds of stuff, like if you're just doing advertising, you can do that and not have to worry about that. But well, I think the biggest part though of having a label for Dave, and I think with a label show, is that we're all kind of in it together when that release happens. So you could perform a song, D'Angelo perform a song, we get Shelly, it would be like a real like showcase. And then but also like because there's a release happening, they're kind of the momentum is built into for people once we have a good show, like a big show, for it to just keep going. But that first show I think is really the biggest thing to a lot of places. Like if you're a wedding planner, for instance, a wedding person, like you're gonna have an events planner person. And that's kind of what every musician really needs, is like an events planner person or someone that is like, hey, we need these big shows this time of the year, here. And then from there, you have that regional growth naturally through your shows by advertising strategically for those shows where they are and the people that you're trying to get to them. But to tour, basically the principle I'm using is the rule of 7. It's in marketing. It's basically like kind of like MJ did this beautifully. Okay, so well, back in the day,
Talking about Michael Jordan.
yeah. Back in the day, the new MJ shoes came out, Nike shoes, Air Force Ones or whatever. Jordans, right? Nike's going to do a commercial. You're going to see it on TV. Gatorade's going to do a commercial with Michael Jordan too. That's going to trigger you to think about the shoes again. You're going to go to the mall with your friends and go to a movie and look at shoes while you're at the mall. So now you're seeing it 3 times. And you like the shoe. So now you've already made a decision. And now you have to beg your mom for enough money to buy it. But it's too expensive. So you're not going to be able to get her to buy it for you then. So you're going to go back home. They're going to do another commercial. You're going to see Michael Jordan on TV just playing basketball. That's 5. And then Christmas is going to come along or whatever. And she's going to know, oh, he's been begging me for these shoes because the kid's been inundated with thinking he can be like Michael Jordan because he wears those shoes. And so, but to get to that point, Michael Jordan is doing Gatorade. He's doing all these other things, playing basketball, and that's kind of what building up that rule of 7. So with us, it's like the show, by the time they get to the show, that should be like a 6th or 7th part of them knowing who we are. And then once they're at the show and we have merch, that's going to be, now they made the decision to buy the merch.
Yeah, I think that's why retargeting it on Facebook ads and stuff is so powerful, and algorithmic targeting, and your phone's listening to you, and then you see the ad come up. Like, I think I saw some number like 1% of first time viewers, no interest. By the time once they're retargeted, it goes up astronomically. The chances of them buying. By the 3rd time, they've made the decision. Yeah. So that rule of 7 is really powerful. I've heard a lot about that.
And
that's
also,
the first time I've ever heard that like broken down reasonably to where I could understand it. That was good.
Yeah, thanks, man. I think the other thing that I've learned through some other artists, there's a band that used to come in. They did a tour. They weren't very well known, but they were an amazing band. They were like a 5-piece band. They were called Community Center.
Yeah.
And their plan was they'd go into a town, they'd go to the open mic. That was the best one in town or whatever. And then at the open mic, they would tell everyone at the open mic that we have a show tomorrow night at blah 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 blah. And then that was their way of gaining enough momentum to go on a tour multiple times. So the second time they're going through the town, now that people already know them, and because they had enough people go the first time because everyone was reminded right before, it's like now you're really building a business because it's growing by itself at that point. When you're just have to present, or you're just there and then they remember you, that's the goal for sure.
And I think the key to that whole, like the X factor and that whole equation, especially it's really apt that you even like use Michael Jordan as like a reference, because he's used so often in music as like a reference, and there's so many parallels between sports and creating and doing music.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just important to figure out like what's our shoe, you know what I'm saying? Not necessarily maybe as a label, because there's a label that can more like be like the shoe box or the shoe store. You're able to go in and get different shoes.
Mm-hmm.
But like figuring out what your personal shoe is and like how to present that appropriately, right? Because like if Michael Jordan had presented those shoes and they had mud all over them the first time you ever saw them, you'd be like, ugh. But by the 6th time, if you see them and they have mud on, you're like, ooh, like So
Yeah.
it's there's an aspect of it that takes a certain level of polish and presentation for people to see. But then after, like you were saying, almost like that third time, at that point they've kind of they have it locked into what it is, and you can sort of present it different ways. And that's what I was talking about last night, Benet, about like, okay, I know I can't keep doing freestyle videos over and over again. What else is there in the mix that makes up like what is this shoe basically?
Yeah, that's good. And also, like, you guys should study Dochi. Like, there's been like all this market analysis about how she did it. It was like at 2020 or whenever COVID lockdown, she lost her job, and she was like, I guess I'm gonna do music, and I'm gonna go all in at music and just create this brand. And her Instagram or TikTok or whatever, whole branding and content is a case study of how to do it. Basically she created a character and just went all in on creating content around this character, showed the process of her recording, like not just like putting photos and songs up occasionally, but she had a whole machine that she did herself, and it's really a case study. So you guys should check out Dochi, and like you can pop that in like what did on Instagram and or on Google, and it'll pop up how she did it and stuff. It's really interesting. I think Bobby, Bobby,
Oh,
go ahead.
I'll say this, and then Bobby, I'd love to hear your question. To your point, Benet, that's why there's a Mayday and a Mayday Glow page.
Yeah, but you have to suss that out and help people understand that message, not just for like interpretation, you know.
Oh, I didn't mean to leave you silent. I was waiting for Bobby's question, but no, yeah, that's kind of what this second wave of content is basically of, is like, hey, what were you just watching a little while ago? Do you know for real? You might want to go back and listen. You might not, you might have missed something.
That's good. What's up, Bobby?
I just wanted to respond to this. What is the shoe question? I mean, I think that the shoe is a show. Like I feel like that's where that to me is where like the industry is at in terms of like where revenue is coming from for artists at this level is performing. So I feel like that also relates to what we were talking about earlier with targeting a region, and this stuff about region specific marketing with respect to the Spotify playlists. When I hear stuff like that about like the regions targeting a region, the way that I interpret that is like, are you performing in the region? I feel like that's what Spotify means when they say. I don't think it means like, are you putting like social media ads out that target a region? It's like, are you keeping a regular schedule of performances in that region? And so I'm definitely like very in support of the idea of doing VCG like showcase shows as a way of getting that ball rolling towards like momentum for that like aspect of like what Spotify is looking for. I think that's super, super important. So that's all I had.
Yeah, we're definitely I'm gonna go ahead and lock that in for the fall. I think we'll still continue regular programming for the summer, but I think having a showcase at a venue, sound team, lineup, like a bill, we sell tickets. Like this is a goal that we're gonna lock in on. So yeah, I agree. I think the shows have to happen.
Yeah, I agree with that. The shows, Mayday. One of the things I've done as um I've thought about over time, and I don't really perform much now, but I mean, I will be, and I'm practicing, and it's good. But um, I went through many embarrassing moments in open mics, and you know, but at the same time, I also had those slivers of moments where you know you can hear in between everyone singing the song back, and those moments are really what I kind of crave personally for me as a shoe, um as a lyricist. That's why, like, I'll hear, I will take a shower, somehow a hook will come in my head, I'll be singing it, and then I'll run out of the shower, write it down, and then I perform at an open mic, and you know people are singing it in their shower the next day. That's kind of what I'm guessing, what I want to have happen
Yeah.
is that that's what I want to have happen.
That is fuck. As somebody, bro, as somebody who I not only like, and you'll affirm with this because I could tell based on like just your writing in general and a lot of your process and history with writing in general, but like I love words. You know what I mean? I love narratives. I love like the study of words, all of it. Well, as somebody who loves words and then specifically loves the medium of like what hip hop uses words for and primarily is foundationally on, that's fucking beautiful, bro. Like for somebody to take what you just had the day before and like and be like, hey, can that be something I can sing tomorrow? Like, where is that song? Like, you ever had anybody run up and be like, where's that song?
Yeah.
That
Like,
was the first.
That is beautiful.
That's worth
bro.
more than money. That's, to me personally, that's worth more than money, because to
Yeah,
me it's a gratification that
that's
I don't.
true. Nobody could pay me out of
You
not
can't. No one
doing
can
that.
pay me that because it's legit and it's from the heart. And I think like that's what is hard, is that like, and as a lyricist, you know, like you're heartless in what you're taking out for so long, so you get to a point where, I don't know, now I have to edit everything, yeah, but it's still like I feel like I'm just more confident now in my process of what I'm going to come up with, because it's happened before numerous times now for me to know that, oh, they're going to repeat this section totally. The crowd call and response area right here is strong. I can already feel it.
And Mayday, what would be good probably for I know, but Bobby, this goes for you too. But we already have like a spoken plans with the portal to do some future collaboration with them. But you should let us know at some of the events. I don't always know what the events are going on at the portal. A lot of times I do if it comes up on my feed, but we should tie in Russell, you should totally go to the open mics there. They have a lot of good open mics that young people come out to. It's what I've seen, it's more hip hop, but we have a great relationship with Will over there, and Mayday and D'Angelo are very connected there. And the VCG is planning on doing some workshops there this summer. So we should, y'all should definitely go to those open mics. From the video, it looks crazy.
Yo, so it's interesting that you suggest going to the open mics in particular. I think the fact that that aspect.
Mayday, it's breaking up.
Me?
Say it again.
All right, there we go. So I'd say the portal has a variety of music that it usually
has like a majority of, and I'd say that's probably between hip hop and rock, which is usually what you'll find more often than not for most of like Carolina's music scene for the most part. That high number of like shows hosting or a show of just
Mayday, Mayday, we're losing you.
oh no. How
Are you getting in the
now?
car? You're good now.
Yay. I would totally pop on, but yes, I am in the car and I'm coming through Bluetooth, so I think it had to do its thing. That being said, the open mics themselves, for the most part, are almost exclusively permeated. What's the best way for me to put this? There's no best way. I'd say like by like probably more mainstream styled trap rap, which is like really interesting. And I actually commented on this. There's a twofold to the open mic. First of all, to just say this, like it's an interesting system. It's a roulette system, so you could at any point get chosen once you put your name on the list. It spins like a random program. And aside from you getting your name on from entry, you can buy more entries if you want to. So that's always an option as well. So aside from the roulette, there's also a producer's corner. So there's usually like a producer or a couple of producers that are there, and they have the opportunity to just go up, put their beats on the corner, and there's freestyling that goes on in between the different various sets of who's chosen for the roulette. And so, but that being said, musically speaking, it's one of the only things I would say outside of a booked show predominantly that you either like catch that amount of like same style of music in the same place at that time. And I think more so it's just a testament to the fact that it's more of a safe space and like brave space for intergenerational. So it's meant to be like very specifically like safe and attuned in that way of like, you're good. It doesn't matter what age you are. You're up here to perform. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you're doing. So like, I always love it because at the end of the day, learning to musically express themselves and do things around that nature than any number of things they could be doing on a Wednesday with, the same kind of energy behind it. So I think it's a really good ground for what you're making and how it could like stretch across various various styles depending on what you're aiming to like hit. So I've gone there, and like Don and I performed this previous Wednesday. We went because Algo lives in Raleigh. He lives in Raleigh, and they asked me if I could pull up, and I was like, sure. And so we performed. He was like the only R&B person I could say that performed. And so another aspect of it is you get a song to do, and if the crowd like cheers, they have like a crowd meter, and they ask how you did after the joint. If they cheer, you get a second song. So we got 2 songs, and they were the only R&B songs I pretty much saw that night. You know what I mean? And of course, and for sure, like in that style or in that essence of what it is. So they loved it.
That's great.
They were like, "Oh, this is great. This is great." I was like, "Okay," you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not here to fight dead in the least. So, I would totally go help that car if I wasn't on the way to work. They just looked like they were just. I'm like, you're just stopped right at the intersection right there. You okay?
You good?
Yeah, I'm all fine. You know me, bro.
Okay.
I I I I care for humanity. I care for myself.
Yeah, that's right.
Um,
Well, that's good, guys. Like, yeah. So the plan moving forward, more shows, showcase shows. Um, we're gonna do. I'm gonna get a summer schedule out. We're gonna attempt to get Shikori for the fall. That's gonna happen, and I'm gonna bill it. I'm gonna try and do a showcase thing too. I know D'Angelo and Mayday are looking. Y'all are looking to do a bill. Maybe I can get in on a big stage, one of the big stages there for like a showcase thing. So Shikori, also festivals. We have a potential artist going to be doing booking maybe in the future. That is still on the table. They're waiting for some moves to happen. So we've got a whole summer planned. Something happened. I think something happened with the planetary alignment. I think everyone's coming into a good season. Is that right, Mayday? We're in a good flow state. So I'm excited
man,
about the future.
I could probably give you a whole nother hour about what the stars have been up to.
Okay.
That being said, yeah, it's a really good place to like follow passion and the groundedness of it, but also to look to see what you're achieving for like a new space for yourself. And so
That's fun.
it'll be interesting though. I think it'll be a lot of duality in this month. So just staying focused on like what we're looking to really do and accomplish on both like small scale, large scale is gonna be key. So like knocking out these like actionable items and submittables and all this stuff that we kind of already have all the legwork realistically for. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's just polish and presentation. So
And also I know Mayday's really good about this. Russell's pretty good about this. And Bobby and Tom, like you're all good about this, but just keeping us accountable, on this end from the studio side of things and the label side of things, like just like keep reaching out, and that's good to keep me, working on stuff. I haven't stopped working, but it's good. The accountability is still good on all fronts, as we're moving forward. Let's go to Bobby. You have a question?
I was just gonna say, well, actually, I mean, come back to me. I just wanted to give an update on where I was at with what I was working on today, but just before the call ends.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're gonna do a hard stop at like a couple minutes after. So, go ahead, Russell.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess it's not necessarily. Well, I talked about this with Dave earlier, but today. But I think, Dave, one of the things that would be great is, if we get those shows booked, the one for the fall and one for the spring, then, and if that works out of that happening, and the fall one is successful, then what would be a good idea, I think, perhaps, would be to put advertising in the UNC bus systems, and then and it could be like a label advertisement, but it would be, people could, because it's going to be packed. That whole, all these basketball games and football games, they use those buses to transport from parking. So you're talking thousands of people in there for all these games. And for that type of advertising, and the only reason I know this is because I used to sell advertising on the sides of taxi cabs.
I remember that.
And But the way to get great pricing on that is to do it for a certain length of time. Because if you do it for like 3 months or 2 months or 2 weeks, they're going to charge you a crazy amount. But if you do, a whole year or whatever, they're going to charge you a reasonable amount. So it's like, whenever we figure out that show, figuring out the pricing for that would be essential, because once we have the show, then we can use that with the Spotify to notify people for shows. So once they, also one of the biggest things I've recently discovered, and with regarding to email, because what I'm doing is, what I've tried to set GPT up to do is to have a email DM list. And those are going to be, so that's going to be like a strategy, right? So like I said, the set rule of 7 thing, they get the email, they get, they see our story, they see our reel, they get the email from Spotify for Artists. That's 4 times. They're on the bus. That's 5. They're at the show. They're buying the merch. Basically, merch is where you're going to get the most bang for your buck in terms of money with music. And it sucks because the music should be what does it. But that's just the way that's just how business works, unfortunately. But I think I did get a great deal on shirts that are $4 a shirt, white with black. Now, that's like, I know it sounds basic or, simple, but if you go to a show and you have a booth with shirts and they're only $10 and they fit nice and you have a great logo, people will buy that shit. Mm-hmm. So like, it would be great to do, kind of figure out the bulk for both merch and advertising during the school year. And then anything that's outside of that would be kind of independent from the person. But it's just an idea for the label, I think.
It might be cool to do like, I'll have to figure out some design, but to do like a label shirt that has like all the artists on the back with like this really cool image and like everyone's names and stuff. That might be kind of cool. And then we just create one shirt that would work for like all the shows, the showcases especially, and everywhere I go, this shirt, Music is the Medicine, I get so many compliments every time I go out. Someone will be like on the street, oh, I like that shirt. Mm-hmm. I like that shirt. So this one sold out. I've made 2 batches of this. I think I made 50 shirts at a time, and this thing sold out too. All right, Mayday. We'll see you.
All right, bro.
We're going to take Bobby's comment, and then we're going to do a hard stop after that.
Great.
We're all good on that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm basically, after talking to Russell earlier today about his ideas, marketing for Pterodactyl, I don't feel like that song is like, I feel like it's not like the audience isn't really self-evident for that song to where you could put it into like pitch it successfully to like the Museum of Life and Science and stuff. I think that the way to make that work is to, in this case, I think turn it into a kid's song. So that's basically what I've set out to do is to kind of rewrite the song, and I just about finished that. And so my perspective on all this is, I don't feel equipped to deal with the sort of marketing that you're talking about doing, but I do feel very well equipped to make a song and make it to certain specifications. In this case, like if the assignment is, make a song that I think is going to work in the context of like a museum might have purpose for it, that's a very different assignment from just like kind of fucking around in the living room and like coming up with some hooks and stuff. And that is something that I feel like I can do. And so that's kind of what I'm like, that's sort of how I feel like I can fit into that process is to help to create something that is going to work for that particular purpose. So
and that's the smartest way to do it, I think. As if we're doing sync opportunities and like and create every opportunity that someone has asked me to create music for their business or for to create a product for their use, it's always generated payment. It's always generated capital. It's always generated a higher return, and it's usually upfront. The first check I ever got from music was with D'Angelo, who you met today, David D'Angelo. We did an Artsplosion sync for their big exhibit, their main exhibit for the year, and the music played at the exhibit 24/7 through the whole festival. They gave us a $500 check to create a song that we did, and it turned out really great. And then at the dinner fundraiser, D'Angelo played live for that and charged them again for that. So it's just being proficient in that is really good. And like music as a business, music as like a vehicle, like a real job, and creating songs for sync and for opportunities is, I think, is a great way to go. And that's what I'm doing with the hospital now. Hospital Syncs. We're creating relaxation music with Shelly and Adam. Oh, cool. And that's like, we're really targeting that. And Bobby, if you wanted to get in on that too, we could throw you into that mix too, with opportunities to create relaxing music that will go on the patient TVs. There's always opportunity for you to do that too. And we could talk more about that later.
Okay. Yeah. There's other stuff that I'm working on that I feel like could fit in really nicely with that. Like I've been working on like a lot of like instrumental music that is that sort of fits that criteria. So cool. We'll talk more about that later.
Awesome. Well, guys. Go ahead, Tom. You next.
I just wanted to chime in. So I do a lot of recording of musicians that come into the TV station to play to promote their songs. And I would say if you're coming out with a song, reach out to like your local TV stations and radio stations, because it'll be free to play on there. And the only catch is like you have to you can't get royalty rights from the songs. You have to just waive your rights to play on the station or TV station, because they don't want to have to pay for your rights to play there. But you can use even use the content they film at the TV stations and radio stations, and then use it again. Like you can use it again for your. You have to ask them, but because it's their content, but you can use it on your own platforms.
We should line that up for the fall, for like if we're doing a showcase show, we should line up a TV performance like the week before and promote it and stuff.
But you got to the thing with both TV and radio stations, like they do most of the way they make their money is through advertising. So most of the people on there are advertising like restaurants, and they're paying the people to be on there, or the people are paying to be on there. So if you're a musician, you get to play for free, but the catch is like you just don't get any money. You don't get any money paid from it. You don't get any money being on it. So,
I mean, the outcomes would be the promotional side.
You also want to give them plenty of time. Like I would give them more than a month, just because they do bookings. They'll book every day. At least where I work, they'll book like a month or so out. So you want to just want to have a spot to like this day you're going to come and record because they're pretty busy, like all day long. They're recording and taping stuff like all day long. But anyway, that's it. But yeah, I wouldn't say just my station. I would say just call them all local TV stations. I would call even local college stations, because college group is a really good, especially for music.
Yeah.
You want to target towards college kids, because it spreads faster. It spreads like wildfire because they'll tell their friends, and it's just you're getting a group that actively listens, or I don't know, they're more very actively social that age.
Yeah. Good point.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for spending the hour with us. And we'll do a meetup next week, and we'll talk about that and just via messenger or text and on school. And you guys are all grandfathered in school. The price is kind of to $4, so $4 a month. So just because I want to create a value proposition to like have people more engaged and stuff. So all right, good job. We'll see everyone soon.
Peace.
Peace.
All right, guys. Oh,
See you, Tom.
good show, Dave.
All right.
Hey, Dave. Do you have time later to talk about some of Shelly's songs?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to go through it with you.